it's Valerie of Valereads and welcome to another video. Remember last year when I made a video all about my penguin collection and I said that there would be a part 2 where I talk further about my penguin collection and I never did that? Well, this is finally that part 2. In this video, I'm going to talk about smaller penguin collections that received a limited run or books from different collections that I only have one book from. But to start off, I wanted to show you some new additions from the collections that I showed in the last video. And in my last video, I showed off my Penguin English Library collection, my Penguin Essentials collection, as well as my Penguin Modern Classics collection. So here in this pile are just a few new additions from those collections since the last video. The first up is a book from the Penguin English Library collection. This is Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. And then I have another Thomas Hardy. This is Jude the Obscure. This one was quite hard to get my hands on and I made an entire video about that ordeal, so I will link that in the cards and you can check out just how difficult this was to obtain. Then for my Penguin Modern Classics collection, I have a new edition of Wide Sargasso Sea by Jean Rhys. In my previous video, I showed off my Penguin Essentials edition of this book, but since all of my other Jean Rhys books are in these editions, I thought I would swap the Essentials out for a Penguin Modern Classics edition, and I really like this cover. This image of green bananas just speaks to me. Then I have a copy of The Sundial by Shirley Jackson. The majority of my Shirley Jackson books are in these editions, and they all have really striking, creepy covers. And this is actually the new look for the Penguin Modern Classics. This is my copy of Laughter in the Dark by Vladimir Nabokov, and these new editions have this turquoise blue spine, which I enjoy, and these editions also have this white bar with an image down below. The other editions, as you saw, had a full image for the cover. I like these, but I can imagine some collectors will be a bit angry at the odd blue spine amongst a bunch of white spines, but I like the look of it either way. Now moving on to the remainder of my penguin collection. These are smaller collections, as I said. This pile here are author-specific collections, and then this pile here are just a bunch of random collections, so I think I'll start off with these ones. First up, I have Picnic at Hanging Rock by Joan Lindsay from the Popular Penguin series. These are a sort of classic look for Penguin, and they are mostly sold in Australia. You can find pretty much any classic or modern classic book in these editions, and they're pretty hard to get your hands on if you're not from Australia, so I was happy to find this book in this edition since this is an Australian modern classic. Then I have Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin from the Penguin Great Love series, and this series featured a lot of short story collections and novellas talking about different types of love, so that's nice. Then I have 3 books from a collection that I know almost nothing about. It is the Penguin Read Red series. Now there are several Penguin Read or Read Red series. One series is a collection of horror classics, and then another looks more like the typical Penguin Black Spine classics, but they are red. And these are, I don't know what they're for. I think it's for AIDS awareness, of course, for red, but they are just an interesting collection. I think the covers are really beautiful. I really like this edition of The Master and Margarita. I also have Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka, as well as Orlando by Virginia Woolf, but I really don't know why or how these titles were selected, what this series was all about. But I do know that I'm excited whenever I happen upon one because they are nice and they're cool because the inside covers have this red color, so that's cool. But if you know anything about this series, where it came from, why it exists, please let me know, and let me know if you have any matching additions to these as well, because I haven't really stumbled upon any other ones in this series. What the heck is the Penguin Read Red series? I do not know. Then I have this beautiful edition of Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. Most of his works are published in these beautiful, smaller hardcover editions, but I've also seen a lot of Evelyn Waugh's books published in these editions, so I don't know if this is a specific series, but it is absolutely gorgeous. Here's a book from a limited run. This is Notes on a Scandal by Zoe Heller, and this is from the Penguin Ink series, which focused on tattoo art, and this is absolutely beautiful. Unfortunately, I bought my copy used, so it is pretty grungy and gross. I'm sorry if that shows up on camera, but it is just so nice. I might even repurchase this edition in a new copy because it's so pretty and cool, and I would have loved if Penguin did a bigger run of these. Then I have a book from a newer series. This was published last year from Penguin, the Penguin Orange collection, which I believe was a collection of sort of American classics. So this is my gorgeous copy of The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan. And the last one from this pile is my copy of We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson, and this is in the Penguin Classics Deluxe Edition, which is more of an ongoing series from Penguin, but I only have one currently, unfortunately. But they are absolutely gorgeous. As you can see, the designs are incredible, and they also have French flaps as well as deckled edges, which I'm into, even though not everyone is. And they're just beautifully designed from front to back, and I really like all of the work that goes into these. Penguin has recently published a similar edition to Shirley Jackson's The Haunting of Hill House, so I'm hoping maybe to grab a copy of that because I think they would make such a cute pair. And now we move on to the final pile, which are just collections for specific authors. So here are two books from the Penguin Great Orwell series. So off the top, I have Keep the Aspidistra Flying, which I think is so gorgeous. And of course, I have 1984, which is one of my favorite book covers of all time because it's a clever play on an iconic cover, and I love Penguin for that. And as you can see here, there is a list of more titles that were published in this edition. Now these books aren't really from a specific Penguin collection, but they are matching covers and they are published by Penguin for a sole author, so I just wanted to show these off because I love my vintage John Wyndham collection. These were all published in the 1970s and I think they are gorgeous. So first up I have the Kraken Wakes, the Midwich Cuckoos, The Seeds of Time, which is a short story collection, and Consider Her Ways and Others, which of course is another short story collection, but I love these because of the bold covers on the front and these really interesting and sometimes pretty weird illustrations as well. And finally, I will finish this video off with my John Steinbeck collection, and these are from the Steinbeck Centennial editions, and I only collect Steinbeck in these editions because I think they perfectly capture the rustic feel of Steinbeck's works, and just because they're beautiful. They are very similar to the Penguin Classics Deluxe Edition because they do have French flaps as well as deckled edges, and they are the same size as well. So here is my copy of Mice and Men, East of Eden, which is so beautiful, The Pearl, and finally Grapes of Wrath. And that was it. They're all gone. So let me know what your favorite Penguin collection is, whether it's a long-running collection or one of the collections I've shown here. I'm sure there's a lot of short-run collections that I missed out on, of course, because Penguin's coming out with great collections all the time. So let me know what your favorite book cover was, what your favorite collection is, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!